Hi everyone, welcome you all. Recently, Selector Hub 5.0 is got released, and let us see what are all changes have done and some important features we will try to understand. So first thing, let us try to install Selector Hub. So Selector Hub is basically available in two flavors, which is a free version which is available, and the other one is Selector Hub Pro version which is also available. So first let us see free version. So to install it, let's go to selectorhub.com and you can see this Selector Hub and click on install. It will go to another page, and here which is available for multiple browsers, and you can just click on this install. It will go to Chrome Web Store, and you can simply add to Chrome and say add extension. So this will add a new extension to the browser, and once you have added this extension, you can just open a new tab, and here go to this extensions part, and you can see the Selector Hub. You can just pin it. So now you're able to see the Selector Hub, which is a free version, right? So earlier, how we have used the Selector Hub is, suppose if I go back to the any web page like this, and if you want to inspect any element, we just right click on this element, then inspect, then open the DevTools window. And here you're able to see the Selector Hub. Sometimes it will appear in the tab or sometimes it is not visible. So we need to click on this arrow mark and then click on the Selector Hub. Then you're able to see the Selector Hub window, right? So DevTools we have to open and then only we'll able to see this Selector Hub tab. Now the big change is, so now we no need to open this tab from Selector Hub 5.0 onwards. Okay, so what we can simply do it, there is an icon, so we can just click on this icon. This will open the new Selector Hub window. So this is the new Selector Hub window. Okay, so this is the big change from Selector Hub. Now we don't need to open the dev tools and we don't need to go to the tab every time. So you can simply click on this icon. This will open the Selector Hub window. Okay, now this is a simply side panel which is open. And one more thing is, earlier when you open the dev tools Selector Hub window, so this window is open only for this particular page. Suppose I'm trying to open some other tab or some other page, again you have to go to the dev tools and again you have to open the Selector Hub. So whatever the window which we have opened earlier, same window is not again visible on the next page or next window. So again here we have to click on inspect and go to the dev tools, and again you have to open the Selector Hub. So we use it to do like this, right? So now the major changes, suppose if you look at this, I'm trying to open new version of Selector Hub, which is 5.0. This is the new side panel which is open. Now, if I open another page, another tab, still this panel is visible. So you can open n number of pages, still this panel is visible. Okay, so this is another big change, which is very, very helpful. So you don't need to go to inspector and you don't need to see dev tools every time. You can simply do one click and it will open the new Selector Hub panel. Okay, so what are the features are available in the previous version? So everything is available in the same 5.0 also. Some additional features which we are going to discuss. So this is a first and very big change. And now let us try to use some of the features from the Selector Hub. So the first and most important thing is, here you can see there are multiple options. You can see attribute, code, form page, XPath healing, debugger, code, customize UI, and reset. These are the different features which are available in Selector Hub. First, let us see one by one. So as soon as you inspect some element, let's say I'm trying to open some application. And here, previously, if you want to inspect any element, we have to first right click on the element, go to inspect. And this is the inspector option we use it to use here. So like this, we are able to inspect element, and then Selector Hub will able to generate the XPath. So now Selector Hub is provided their own inspector option here. You can inspect the elements by using this option. So simply click on this inspect page, and then whichever element you want to locate, you can just simply click on the element, and then it will automatically generate different type of locators. You can see relative CSS selector, relative XPath, index XPath, test trigger path, and so on. So these are the different locators which will automatically generated by the Selector Hub. Okay, and this is a 5.0 version. So this is there for older version also. It is same thing again continued. And here that XPath is got generated, and similarly it is also able to generate CSS. Suppose if you want to locate any other type of element, you can see the relative CSS selector is also generated. Okay, so this is automatic generation of XPath as well as CSS. And if you want to create your own XPath and you can validate, you can simply, what you can do is you can write your own XPath and you can paste it over here in this particular search box, and then you can simply copy this and then press enter. You can write your own XPath here and this will able to locate this element. Okay, so this is pretty much simple. You can just get the existing XPath which is generated by SelectorHub, or you can write your own XPath and CSS and you can check whether it's properly locating the element or not. So this is automatic generation of XPath and CSS locator. Okay. Now there is one feature is there, set attribute. Right. If I click on this, so this particular panel is disappear. So by default, these are the attribute it is considered. There's a text, ID, class, and name, and so on. So if you locate any element, let's say I'm trying to locate this search box. So it is taken by default placeholder, right? So this is the placeholder it is taken. And suppose if there is an ID or text or class or name is available for those elements, it will also generate the XPath by taking the help of these attributes. Suppose I don't want to use this attribute. Suppose I want to use some other attribute, you can still use it. So that attribute you can just simply type. Suppose, for example, if the name is available for this element, simply you can say name here. And then this will automatically replace with the name. But if that attribute is available, then only you can replace. So other than these existing attributes, if you want to use some other type of attribute, if it is available for the element, you can specify that attribute here, and accordingly the XPath will be used that particular attribute. So this is an option which is available, and this is attributes, and these are the existing attributes: text, ID, class, and name. If you want to add any other attribute, you can simply add that attribute. Okay. Now there is a upgrade. So this is a button which we can use to upgrade your selector with a higher version, a pro version. And the other one is case insensitive. Okay, so what this option will work, suppose I'm trying to locate this element. Let's say I'm trying to locate this search box, and currently this is the XPath which is generated by SelectorHub, and it is matching with the element. So suppose you have written your own locator. Let us assume instead of uppercase character, yes, I'm searching, I'm just lowercase character. Now this XPath is not matching with any element, so 0 element. So why? Because this is a lowercase character. So if you don't want to consider this case sensitivity, so simply what you can do is you can click on this option. Click to make selectors case insensitive. So once you click on this, this will automatically convert it into case. So when you click on this, this will match with this element. So if you not properly created this locator with some text, and it is, you can check or you can make it as a case insensitive. So this option will be very, very helpful. So now you can use this XPath in our automation script, which will locate the element. So this is one of the option which is available. So make selectors case insensitive. All right. So now there is one more option called access XPath. This is another beautiful feature which is provided by SelectorHub. Access XPath. So we can automatically generate XPath by using XPath access. Okay, so for example, let me just clear it. Okay, so now I'm just clicking on XPath access. Now it is provided two options here: inspect parent, inspect child. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to locate the element based on the parent element. For example, you can just look at here. There is a desktop. This is the main menu, and inside this I have a Mac one. So let us assume the desktop is a parent element and Mac is a child element. So I want to locate this Mac one element by using desktop element. Okay. So how we can generate XPath for this? First of all, inspect this element, desktop element. Okay. Now go to the inspect child, right? So now again take this inspector and inspect the child element. Now you can see this is automatically generated XPath access. So first it will go to desktops and then following normal space Mac. So this is used following XPath access. So simply we have to select a parent and a child element. So obviously it will automatically generate XPath access. Now from now onwards, you can just select whatever you want. Suppose I'm selecting laptops and notebooks. This is my parent, and Mac or Windows is a child element, or you can take tablets or whatever. So let me inspect this element, laptops and notebooks. So now it is considered as a parent. Now again, take the inspector and now locate another element, Windows. Now you can see this is another XPath access, which is automatically generated, and previous one still we can save. So it is automatically saved. If you want to use previous one, still we can copy and we can use it in our automation. So like this, by using parent and child, we can automatically generate XPath access. This is another beautiful feature which is provided in SelectorHub. XPath access. Okay. Now we already discussed about this attribute. So you can just click on the attribute. So existing attributes are text ID, class name. And if you don't want to use existing attribute, you can add any other attribute and locator will be generated like this. So for example, if I inspect this element again, so currently it is using placeholder, and you can just look at here attribute. So ID, text, class, name. So name is not available for this element. So that is the reason it is not available. If the name is available, it is also take name or class, ID or text. Other than this, if you want to use any other attribute, then you can specify here that attribute, and then it will generate XPath by using that attribute. This is another feature. Now let us go to the another one, code. So this is another important feature, very useful feature. So what is this code? Okay, so suppose here, when I click on this code, let us try to inspect any element. Let me just reset and then go to the code. So let me try to inspect any of this element. Let's say I'm trying to inspect this search box element. Okay, so currently this is a XPath which is got generated. So in which format it is generated is format like / input placeholder search. This is one format. Suppose I want to generate in the different format, right? So simple, suppose normally when you write your automation, we will write driver.find element and then by dot, then XPath, right? So the entire script I want to generate, not only this part of XPath. So simply in the drop down box here, you can see in the text box, you can see auto suggestions, and whichever format you want to convert that XPath, you can convert it. Suppose I want to convert this into driver.find element. You can just click on it. See, this is automatically converted into driver.find element. Right? Simply, we can suppose if you're capturing the locator for POM, let's page object class. So then you can use find by. So you can select this option, format, and this is again converted into this format. So whichever format you want to generate, that locator we can generate. So that is a code option. And not only this, if you see here, cy.get, this is for Cypress syntax. If I select this, same locator is got generated according to Cypress syntax. And this is for Python, driver.find underscore element. So the same XPath is generated according to the Python. So you can select the format, whichever format you want to generate locator, and accordingly it will automatically generate. So this is a very useful feature which is available for the code. Okay, so we can convert whichever format you want. And the next one is POM page. This is another very useful feature. While creating automation frameworks, we follow page object model pattern. So if you want to write all the locators in the POM format or page object model pattern, which will automatically generate multiple locators. So let me show you how to use this POM.page. So when you go to this POM.page, so currently it is empty. It's not having anything. Now I want to add some of the elements into my POM. Okay. So let us say this is my home page. I want to add some of the elements into my POM. So simply what you can do is, so as soon as we already click on the POM page, so simply take this inspect page and show that element. Just I'm clicking on search. Now you can see the locator is automatically generated. Now take this inspector one more time and just click on the element. So phone number. And again, take the inspector and click on my account. And again, take the inspector one more time, one other element. So like this, each and every element we can directly add to the file. So you can see, you see all the locators automatically generated for these elements. So now once it is generated, you can simply copy here. It will export. You can export in the Excel sheet, or you can just copy this and use it in your POM file. Okay. And suppose sometimes we can write POM file in the different formats. So if you want to change in the different format, you can still change it. So once it is generated, so what you can do is here, you can change the format. So you already generated, right? So you can simply go to the code, and here you can specify whichever format you want. Suppose I want to create all the locators by using find by. You can select this and press enter. And as soon as you have done this, all the locators got changed into find by format. You can see this. Now you can just copy this and you can use it in your pom.xml. You can copy directly into the POM file, page object class. Okay. So this is another beautiful feature. It will reduce a lot of time and effort for us while creating the page object classes. Okay. So this is a POM page. This is one very useful feature. Now the next one we have is XPath healing. This is another option which is available, very, very useful. So when we have to use this particular feature, XPath healing. So for example, let me take this page. So let us say I have already created my POM file, page object class, which contains all these elements. I have already written the XPaths or locators for these elements. Now, after a few days, suppose some changes are happened in this particular page, the locator attributes are got changed. What we will do now, we need to again review the POM file, page object class, and whatever locators are got changed, we have to go individually and we have to modify them. It is very, very tedious task, right? If you have a 2 to 3 elements, that is fine. If you have n number of elements, let's say if you have 100 elements in the page, so it is very difficult to find out which locator is got changed and where we have to modify, right? So to simplify this particular task, SelectorHub is provided one important feature, very useful feature, which is XPath healing. So what we can do with this, simple, whatever locators we already created for this, if there are any changes or locator not, we can easily find out by using XPath healing. Okay. So for example, I already captured, let us say I already captured some of the locators for this element. If I look at here, these are the locators I already captured for these elements, first name, last name, email, and continue. Now I want to check, is there any change in the locators? Suppose some updates are happened in the page. Now I want to check, is there any change? Like, is there any change in the locators? So we can simply find out. So what we can do is, we can simply go to XPath healing. Now in the XPath healing, you can simply click on this edit, click to paste all the XPath. This is the option. You can just click on it. This will open the new window. So in this particular window, we have to copy whatever XPath we have already created. So these are the XPath which is already created earlier. Now I'm just copying this XPaths and keep it in the box. Now we have to specify the format also, in which format we have created these locators. The format also we have to specify. So what is the format is? This is the format, driver dot find element and by dot XPath. So here we specify the XPath value. I can say XPath value. So this is the format. So all these XPath, whatever we have written in this particular format. So we need to specify the format, and whatever XPath you already created for these elements, you can just copy them from the page object class and here, and then click on the submit. So once you have done it, it will show you what are all XPaths are exactly matching with the element. So currently I have not done any changes. So for every XPath is exactly matching with every element. So all XPaths are up to date. There are no changes so far. Okay. Suppose if there is any change in locator or XPath or any attribute, so this will not match. So for example, again, I'm going to open POM page and again click on this, XPath healing, then click on this edit. Now the syntax is same again. So here again, I'm copying the XPaths. Now let us assume, so this is got changed. Let's say instead of continue, I say submit. Let us assume this is a change happened in the web page. Now, when you click on the submit, now observe it. So other XPaths are exactly matching, but this is a not matching. So what we can do, we can click on this edit. Now we can change this value, and accordingly we can modify the XPath. So in one shot, we can find out what are all changes that happen in the web page. So for that, this XPath healing feature will be very, very useful. So very simple, very useful. You can simply click on this edit box, and then here we pasted all your locators, whatever you already created in the page object class, and specify the syntax here. Then click on the submit, and it will show you what are all matching, what are all not matching. So if you find any not matching nodes, you can simply edit and then update. So this is how we can simply use XPath healing, which will reduce a lot of time for us. Instead of looking for every element and every change, we can find changes in one shot. This is XPath healing feature. Now there is another feature called debugger. Now let us see what is the use of these debugger. So by using this option, we can simply handle hidden elements. Sometimes if we are not able to inspect the elements, it is just appear and immediately disappear. So by using dev tools, we cannot inspect those type of things. So in that case, we can use this particular option called debugger. So let me quickly show you how can we use this debugger feature. So for that, I'm trying to open some other page. See, even though if you're changing the pages or tabs, this window is still alive. So it is not automatically closed. So this is the new feature which is introduced in 5.0. So now I'm just logging to that application. So once you log into that application, so here you can see going here, and here you can see there are some drop downs. There are some drop downs, you can say job titles and status and so on. And if you're trying to inspect these elements by using dev tools, see here, I just want to trying to inspect this account assistant. You can just right click and try to inspect, it is disappeared. Even in the dev tools also, if I just right click and inspect this element, even in the dev tools also, you cannot see those options which are displayed in this top down because these are all hidden items. So you cannot see. So the first option, whatever we selected, we can see that, but rest of the options we cannot see in the dev tools. This is immediately disappeared. So if you want to get the locators for these elements, or if you want to inspect them, we can use debugger option or debugger feature from SelectorHub. Now let me show you how to use this debugger. Very simple. So what you need to do is you have to take the help of dev tools, because which will not directly work. You have to keep open the dev tools. So let me try to inspect, and then I keep open my dev tools here. Okay. So here you don't need to use SelectorHub. You can directly use from here, or you can use this one also. So earlier how it was working, exactly that will follow the same thing. But if you still want to use a new window panel, you can try to use like this. So I have opened my dev tools window. Now I want to inspect one of the job title in this drop down. Okay, so how can we inspect? So you have to click on this debugger, and within 5 seconds, you have to keep open the drop down. Then your screen will be freezed. Then you can easily inspect those elements. Now let me show you how can we achieve this. So I'm clicking on the debugger. So once you click on the debugger, immediately try to open this and keep it open. Within 5 seconds, just open. Now you can see it is freezed. The screen is got freezed. So now go to the element section, and now you can inspect this element. Now you can see easily you can inspect this element. So this is how we can use this particular debugger feature. And after you inspecting this element, you can just stop this debugger. Okay. So this is how we can simply use debugger to find out the hidden elements on the drop downs. This is by default hidden. Okay. So if we try, you cannot inspect by default like this. Disappear. Immediately it will disappear whenever trying to locate this element. Okay. This is another useful feature provided in SelectorHub. Now the next one is quote. It's very simple. Sometimes we can put the attribute value in the double quotations or single quotations. So by default, it is created in the single quotation. So let me open another page. So if I look at this, by default, the SelectorHub is created locator. You can just look at it. Let me reset. Yeah. So you can see this by default, this locator is created. The attribute is included in the single quotations. But sometimes we use double quotations in some tools. So what we can simply do it, you can click on the double quote here. Once you click on the quote, so that XPath is got changed to the double quote, single quote into double quote. So simply you can put double quote or single quote, you can simply click on this option. Okay. So once you click on it, it will add double quotations. Again, if you click on it, it will add single quotations. So you can simply change the quotations by using this option. Now the next one, customize UI. So if I look at here, there are multiple attributes are displaying and there are multiple options are displaying like access XPath, case insensitive, and here auto suggestions. So whenever you try to write your own XPath, it will automatically give you auto suggestions like this, right? So we can customize all these options. So we can customize them by using this customize UI. So click on this customize UI and here it will provide you all the stuff, selectors and UI buttons. And you can just look at here. If you don't want to generate relative CSS selector, you can just uncheck. Or if you don't want to generate other things, like if you don't want to generate JS path or jQuery, you can just uncheck. Okay. And test trigger path, if you don't want, you can uncheck. And similarly, UI buttons, suppose I don't want XPath access XPath option here. So we can simply uncheck it. And you can see auto suggestion. You can just remove this. Auto suggestion will be disabled. And I don't want to see this case sensitive, insensitive. So you can simply uncheck, that is disappear. Okay, so like this, there are multiple options are available here. So you can just customize the UI by using these options. This is customer use. The last one, reset. So if you do any changes here, so if you want to go back to the default panel, you can just click on the reset. This will go to the default stage. Okay, and one more important feature, it will automatically correct the spelling. For example, let me try to write an XPath like this. So this is XPath, and by mistake, I missed this bracket. Right. So this will also suggest you syntax error. Suppose I say this one. Okay, so this will give you auto suggestions. Okay, so now I'm just clicking on enter. Now, as soon as you press enter, it will show you what are all mistakes you have done here on the text path. Now you can see it is clearly saying invalid XPath and it is saying close square bracket, which is missing here. So that kind of help it will automatically provide you. So suppose if you remove some quotations here, then press enter. Now clearly it is saying double quote is missing. So we need to fix. If you want to fix it, you can directly click on this fix the selector. It will automatically fix it. So this is auto fixing mechanism, which is also implemented as part of Selector Hub. So these are the most important features which we can use in our automation. While working with the locators, it will save a lot of time and a lot of effort. Okay, and repeatable stuff, which will automatically reduced. Okay, so these are the most important features which are provided in the Selector Hub, which is free version. Now I'll also show you Pro version. So what are additional things which we will get in the Pro version? Simply what you can do, how we have installed Selector Hub, in the same way, we can also install Pro version. You can say go to selectorhub.com and you have to use this one. This is a Selector Hub free version. This is a Pro version. You can see here. So once you click on install, it will go to this page and you can click on add to Chrome. So here you can see I already installed this Pro version on my Chrome. So it is saving. It is just saying remove from Chrome because I already added. So let me just go through Pro version. If I go back to my page, so you can see there is one icon you can see. Just like how we have installed free version, same way we can also install Pro version. But once you install Pro version, first time it will ask you the login, email and password. So you need to provide the proper license-based your email address and password, then you will able to log in. So this is a Selector Hub Pro version. If you have a two versions, Pro and free version, you can see in the drop down here. So this Selector Hub Pro version, this is a Selector Hub. And if you want to see both of them in the Dev Tools, you can just inspect and you can go to the Dev Tools window, and here you can see both. This is a Selector Hub and this is a Selector Hub Pro version.
Now let us see how can we use the Selector Pro version. So I'm just opening my Selector Hub Pro. So this is almost, the UI is almost the same, but there are some more additional options, features are provided in this. Let us see what are those additional options provided in the Pro version. So the most important is we can inspect multiple elements at the same time. So for example, if I go back to my free version, so by using this inspector, we can inspect only one element at a time. So for example, I'm clicking on inspect page, I can locate one element. So one element XPath is generated. Now, if we want to locate another element, again, we have to click on inspect page and again, we have to inspect another element. Now it is generated XPath for another element. So every time we have to click on this inspect option whenever you want to generate the locator for different elements on the same web page. So multiple times we have to click on this. So if you want to go with, if you want to use Selector Pro, so we can select multiple elements at the same time. So for example, let's see, I'm clicking on inspect page, clicking on one element. Now you can see locator is got generated. Again, clicking on the search page, search button, so search box. Now again, another locator is generated, XPath. Now I'm selecting another element. Same thing, I can select multiple elements like this. I no need to click on this inspector multiple times every time. You can see as soon as you selecting the elements, automatically the locators are generating. So this is another useful feature which is provided in the Selector Hub Pro version. But if you go with the free version, you have to click on this inspect page multiple times for multiple elements. So this is the one change, and same thing is applicable for XPath axis also. So if you go back to the XPath axis, and if you go back to the again free version, how XPath axis works. So what we need to do here is we can simply, okay, let me remove this, reset. Now, how to use XPath axis in the free version? You can simply click on this XPath axis. Now here we need to click on this inspect and we need to show the parent element, and after that child element. See, it is not generated. So let me check once again. Reset. So if you want to generate XPath axis, so simply what you can do, click on this option. I'm trying to use a free version. So click on this XPath axis. Now it is enabled. So now we need to inspect the parent element. So I'm clicking on inspect page and now I'm selecting the parent element. Now again, go to the inspect page, then again select the child page. So every time when you select the parent and child page, you have to inspect the element multiple times. So it is generated XPath axis. So multiple elements. Again, if you want to generate another one, so you can again click on this selector and then click on parent and again click on this inspect page and then again click on the child element. So like this, multiple times we have to click on this. So it is generating XPath axes. This is in the free version. Now, if I go back to the pro version, we can select a multiple option at the same time. You can see this is a pro version. And in the pro version, let's see how we can generate this. So in the pro version, we can simply go to the XPath, axis XPath, click on this axis XPath. Now, only one time I'm selecting this inspect page. Just observe, I'm selecting one time and show the element whatever you want. So I'm clicking on the parent element, immediately child element. That's it. One XPath is got generated. XPath axis got generated. And again, you no need to click on this option again. So again, go to the parent element, now child element. So another XPath axis got generated. Similarly, you can go with anything. Suppose I'm clicking on parent element again and one more child element. So another XPath is got generated. XPath axis got generated. So only one time you have to click on this inspect page and you can locate all the elements one after another. You no need to go and click on this inspect page multiple times. So this is one more feature which is present in the Selector Hub Pro. So this will reduce a lot of time. Instead of going and clicking on that inspect page every time, so we can just click on only one time and we can select multiple elements. Okay. And apart from this, in the Selector Hub Pro, which is provided Selectors Healing. So if you go back to the free version, which is provided only XPath Healing, which will able to check only XPath is changed or not. So in the XPath Healing, we have provided the locators here and provided the syntax. or the format. And if there are any changes are there after clicking the submit, if there are any changes, it will give you zero element or matching. Only XPath it will able to match. But if you go back to the Pro version, so not only XPath, which will able to check other type of locators. If I look at selector healing, so here not only the XPath, which will also select other elements. Okay, so for example, let me take some locators. Let me try to put 2 locators here. And basically these are all registration page. Let me go to registration page here. Just a second. Let me go to the registration page. Now I already written the locators for these elements. Okay, let's go to the SelectorHub healing. And here I will paste all the locators, whatever I created earlier. So these are all XPaths, which are already created earlier. Now here by dot, this format I'm going to change. So my format is driver.findElement. By dot selector value is there, right? So these are the XPath I have copied. So not only XPath, it is also check other elements. So for example, I'm trying to use ID locator here. By dot ID. Okay, let us say this is my ID. Instead of XPath, I'm trying to use ID locator. Okay, so this is our ID. And bracket is got closed. Okay, now if you submit this, you can see ID is also verified. Along with the XPath, it is also verified ID. Okay, but in the free version, if I go back to the pre version, it will check only XPath. It will not verify the ID. It will verify only ID. It will verify only XPath. If I look at the difference again, go back here and then copying this XPath and I'm changing into ID. See the difference, how it is going to work. So here I'm trying to use ID. So along with the XPath, it is also able to validate ID if there is any change. When I submit this, see, currently this ID is not matching again because this ID is not correct. So we need to click on this edit and then we have to recheck again. So again, if you go back to the selectors healing, this is our selectors healing. Again, I'm keeping the locator. So by dot XPath, so this is a ID. So I think this is the ID which is not available. So it is not matching. So if I look at this free version, can go back to the free version and it will open, it will check only XPath. So you can just go back to the XPath and click on this button and see. Here, this will check only XPath. So what is the format here? It driver dot find element, driver dot find element by dot XPath. You can say by dot XPath. And in this, we have to keep XPath value. Right. So this is a format. And we put double quotes here. So I can say double quotes. So driver dot find element by dot XPath and XPath value. So this is a format in which we have created all the XPaths. So let me just correct it. Okay. Now in this, instead of XPath, I'll try to use ID. Let's say by dot ID. So when I use by dot ID, it will not verify. You can see by dot ID. Click on submit. See, ID is not there actually. So this is the XPath actually. Again, this is the XPath which is captured and verified because it is a free version. So in the pre version, we have only XPath healing. But if we go back to the pro version, we also have selector healing, not only XPath, which will also check other locators like ID, name, CSS, whatever you have. So that is another major difference in the, this is selector healing, and in the free version, you can see only XPath healing. So apart from this, in the free version, in the context menu, they have provided some more options. So for example, if you right click on this element, go to SelectorHub, you can find these options. So directly we can copy ID, name, relative XPath, everything. Okay, if the ID is available, we can directly, it will give you ID of the element. If the name is available, it will directly give the name of the element. Similarly, relative XPath and so on. Suppose if the element is not having ID, so you can just capture this copy ID. The element is not having any ID, so then it will give you some message like this. So ID attribute is not available for this element. If ID is available, it will capture the ID of the element. We can directly use it in our automation. But if it is not available, it will just give you this message. ID attribute is not available for this element. Similarly, if I inspect any other element, context menu, by using this context menu, right click on the element, go back to Selector Hub. Now I want to find a name of this element. Let's say copy name. If the name is available, it will give you name. If it is not available, it is not giving. So you can see name is available. So it is giving search. This is the name of the element, name attribute value of the element. So if it is not available, it will simply say it is not available. So this is the another feature which is implemented. So you can directly get the locators from this context menu. Okay, so this is a free version. But if you look at this again, so when you get the ID, for example, for this element, I'm trying to get the ID and you are trying to copy this ID somewhere in your automation. Until unless you copy this, you don't know exactly whether this ID is available or not, right? So at the time of inspecting this element through the Selector Hub, I want to know the ID is there or not. So that is a feature which is present in the Pro version. You can just go back to the Pro version. Now, in the Pro version, if you try to inspect any element, just right click. Here, you can select the context menu. You can see Pro also. No need to open this panel also. You can directly go with this. Selector Hub, this is a free version. This is a Pro version. Selector Hub Pro, you can see copy ID. So here it will show you ID attribute is not available for this element. Same copy name is available. It will show you the name. Same thing, relative XPath, relative CSS selector, JS path, absolute XPath, everything it will automatically show you. You can just select and use it. But in the free version, it will not show you those options. It will just say only copy ID, name, or so on. So this is another major change in free version and Pro version. So apart from this, Pro version will also have so many other important features, like it will automatically find dynamic elements and smart navigation. We can easily navigate all those things. For example, let me go to this page. So if you want to inspect this element, okay, so just try to inspect this element using Selector Hub Pro version. Let me reset. So I'm trying to locate any element. If there is any dynamic element on the particular page, it will clearly tell you that element is more dynamic or not. Okay, so if I go back to the attribute, I provided all the attributes. Okay, so if there is any dynamic element is present in the web page, so any attribute is dynamically changing, so those type of attribute it will show you. Suppose if you remove this attributes and try to select the page or select any locator like this, it will show you. So whatever attributes are already existed, by using those attributes, you can see title is got selected. Suppose if the title is changing, keep changing, so it will also intimate you here the element is more dynamic or not. So like this, there are so many features are there, and you can easily find out that element is present inside the iframe or not, or whether the element is present inside the shadow DOM or not. Okay, so you can easily find out using Selector Hub. So these are some of the important features, very useful features from Selector Hub and Selector Hub Pro version. Okay, previously I have already created some of the series, some of the videos on these features in the previous versions of Selector Hub. You can go through them, and almost all features are same. The new UI is totally different, and it is more flexible and very easy to use. And you don't need to go to dev tools every time, and you don't need to open the window here, and you don't need to go and use these options every time. So directly can open this, and even if you open multiple pages, this window is still alive, and you can just switch like this, Pro version and free version, and you can use it. Okay, so these are the few important features which are present inside the Selector Hub free version and Pro version. And if you want to learn more number of features in depth, you can just go to Selector Hub YouTube channel. Sanjay has created so many videos in detail. You can go through them and you can watch them. You can try to understand about Selector Hub features. All right. So that's all for this video. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.